What's up, everybody? Well, as you may or may not know, I've had some internet trouble lately with my connection flaking out, disconnecting, and it being really hard to upload stuff. That last video I did on home networking, that was upload attempt number 2. After the first time I tried uploading it got cut off, and it glitched out because of that. Yeah, this old DSL modem has seen better days. It wasn't even new when I got it. It's a Siemens Speedstream 4100. When I was talking with some AT&T tech support folks about what's been going on with this, they were cracking up, like, "You still have that thing, man?" Yeah, I still have this thing, and this wasn't even, I don't even think this was new when I got it. This was a replacement for my original Speedstream modem that I had when I signed up for SBC Yahoo DSL back in 2005, before I even got involved with YouTube or anything. But yeah, so this thing still says SBC on the logon screen, actually, so it's got a couple of years on it, and I was thinking maybe the modem's dying, and that's what the tech support folks at AT&T thought too. Some of my problems with the connection dropping may have been because of how old the modem is and stuff like that, and it could just be flaking out after all these years. Not gonna show the modem access code, of course, but yeah, cool. Check it out. Phone, Ethernet, and a little hard reset thing. You got to stick a pin in to reset it. Yeah, basic 12-volt DC device and stuff like that. So it's been pretty interesting. It's been a really crazy ride with AT&T so far, trying to get this fixed. Excuse me. First, I tried 2 separate phone calls to their tech support people, and between the 2 of them, they couldn't figure out whether it was the line or the modem. But one of them said, "Yeah, the modem's definitely in play here. Some of our remote tests are indicating problems with your modem, so you might want to consider getting another one," and stuff like that. So, first I was told, go to an AT&T store to switch this out with another modem or buy another one or something like that. And then I found out when I went to the AT&T store that the closest AT&T store that actually exchanges wireline equipment, the closest stores they have, are an hour away in all directions. So I was like, "Meh." So I called them up again, seeing if there are any alternatives, and then I found out that AT&T, of course, DSL is very dated, so it's pretty much dinosaur subscriber line at this point, but AT&T is basically backing out of everywhere they can. They're trying to get away from DSL, so they've relaxed a lot of the restrictions they used to have on their DSL customers. So I could just get my own modem and configure it myself and not have to buy one of their overpriced modems or residential gateways or something like that. So I figured, so I do have a new modem on the way in case this thing really is flaking out, and it's time to make it my backup modem or something like that. I just got a $30 deal off of Newegg, nothing too exciting. We'll do some messing with that when it arrives, but in the meantime, it's going to take a couple more days for the new modem to get here, so in the meantime, I've been dealing with almost dial-up like cutoffs with this stupid thing, where basically what happens is all these lights are green and everything works, and you got an activity light for network activity, but when the DSL light turns red, you've lost your connection and it's trying to hook back up. It's like if you're on dial-up getting booted off of AOL or something like that. I don't know why I keep mentioning dial-up, but my dad messes with dial-up still, so I pity him. But then again, this is getting almost as bad. So, in the meantime, I'm stuck with this modem, and so I decided to get a little geeky, and I was doing some reading, and I found out the power supplies on these things have a bad reputation for conking out long before the modem does. So I figured, you know what, why don't we take the power brick that came with this thing, and let's hook up a multimeter to it and see what we get for voltage, to see if maybe there's something wrong with the power going into the unit. Wow, was I in for a nasty surprise. Okay, everything's plugged in. We got the positive tip, so positive lead going into the middle of the plug. Okay, you ready for this? Let's touch this together, and let's take a look at... it's not getting a good connection. Let's see here. We might have to jam it or something. There we go. Let's go up to the multimeter here. 17.4 volts out of allegedly a 12-volt power adapter. That is bad. Yeah, this is a 12-volt device. This is a 12-volt device, so I can only imagine what 17 volts, nearly 18 volts going into this thing must be doing to the darn thing. More like slow roasting it. Yikes! 17 volts going into a 12-volt device. That is not good. So what I think's going on here is maybe whatever does the voltage regulation in this power brick for the DSL modem, I think whatever does the voltage regulation in this thing let go, because when I was a sophomore in high school, one of my electronics shop projects was to build a regulated power supply that ran off of a power transformer that went down from 120 volts AC to 12 volts AC before rectifying the AC into DC and then using a filter capacitor to smooth it out. Basic bridge rectifier power supply, very similar to what you'd build, what a lot of stuff has for converting AC to DC. But I remember very vividly that we had to use Zener diodes in order to split off the voltage into the appropriate levels for the various settings on the dial, and then I would leave a setting that was unregulated that would output 18 volts, because even if you used a transformer that went from 120 to 12 volts, that's 12 volts dirty power. Once it's cleaned up with a filter capacitor, the voltage is all smoothed out and everything, then you have closer to 18 volts, and that's what I think is going on here. I think the voltage regulation in this power brick is toast. So, I went digging through my spares, got out one of my Radio Shack spares. Let me go get one. I had a couple extra power bricks with adjustable adapter-plug adapter things and stuff like that sitting around from things like my keyboard and some other musical equipment I've owned over the years. So the original power brick was supposed to output anyways 12 volts DC, 500 milliamps max current with a positive tip. I had one of these lying around, 12 volts, 1500 milliamps, and I can set the tip based on what's on the how I plug in the adapter plug things. But yeah, this is a little overkill. It's probably going to draw more power than it needs to, but it'll keep the DSL modem running until I maybe find something that outputs a more appropriate voltage. So this was close to 18 volts. I tested one of these, 14 volts. That'll be a lot nicer on this thing than this was. Still not a perfect 12, but definitely a lot closer than 18. So it looks like the voltage regulation on this thing is completely kaput. So I'm going to cook test this. I'm going to play some Guild Wars 2 over this DSL modem after I hook it back up. I'm going to cook test this, and if you see this video, you'll know it was a success because and the connection didn't get dropped. I'm going to get to work on seeing if maybe this solves the problem. You know, it would be funny if just getting a new power brick solved the problems with this DSL modem, because AT&T was ready to sell me either an overpriced modem for $75 or an overpriced residential gateway that does modem, router, and wireless for $120. And I already have another DSL modem on the way in case there really is some internal damage to the circuitry on this thing. But it'd be funny. Here they are, residential gateway, and the only problem was it was getting bad power from its own power brick, and the voltage regulation was completely kaput on the power brick. So something that would cost maybe $20 tops at Radio Shack, probably less from a tech e-tailer that doesn't mark things up as much. It would be funny if this turned out to be the solution to these modem issues that I've been having. Once again, bad power ruins everything. I had a bad power supply ruin one of my computers back in college. And now here we are with a bad power adapter going out of tolerance for its output, well, out of a reasonable tolerance for its outputted voltage, causing the DSL modem to constantly drop connections and become unstable. Always interesting when something I learned in electronics shop back in 10th grade is one of the most useful things that I ever know in my life. Bad power ruins electronics. Yeah, indeed. So I'm going to go try playing some Guild Wars 2 before trying to upload this later tonight. There will definitely be an update on this whole situation if I get another disconnect, but it'll be interesting to see if this thing still cuts out, even though it's now getting closer to what it should be getting for voltage than the near 18 volts from this piece of crap. Whatever. Alright, time for the cook test to begin. I'm going to play me some Guild Wars 2, and then while I sleep, try to upload this video without it getting cut off. And I'll clear the log in the modem, too, so I can see if there's any disconnects while I'm sleeping or something like that. I'll check the log when I get up tomorrow and see what's going on here. It'll be funny though if this turned out to be the problem here. I got folks saying it might be your line. AT&T folks are saying it might be your line. Others are saying your modem's dying. You got to buy another one from us. But it would really be funny if this turned out to be it. Makes me wonder how much more widespread this problem is, where CPE equipment from phone and cable companies, the only reason it doesn't work properly is because of this. And power adapters. Of course, this was something I was worried about when I was trying to work for the cable company last year in that little 3-month disaster, because they were very, very careless about these. They didn't even pay attention to these or even test these to see if these were the problem, because they're so easily replaceable. I'm just wondering how many bogus power bricks go out with CPE equipment, and then it ruins the user's experience for their customers. Alright, time for the cook test to begin. I'm going to play me some Guild Wars 2, see if I ever get disconnected. Then I'll try uploading this video and see if the video gets disconnected, all while keeping an eye on the log on this little DSL modem. Which, if it was just a power problem and this thing's going to keep on chugging along, I'm just going to keep right on using it. Might as well. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.